Yeah, of course, final game. I apologize for taking a little while to get on here. Opportunity to get the team together and talk to them a little bit and talk to some other guys individually. But wow, what a season. What a season for the Mariners and our group really taking a huge step forward organizationally and where we're at. And our future is very, very bright here. I say all that and it doesn't, we're still very disappointed today to get that close and to not kind of, cross the finish line and break through into the playoffs. You always look back, there's a game here, a game there, but then I quickly remind myself that we won plenty of games we probably shouldn't have won. You know what I mean? So does it all balance out? You come up a game short, it certainly hurts, but just talking to the players, so proud of getting the opportunity and the privilege to lead this group. It's a group that has really, I think, clearly defined itself on what we value and what our process looks like going forward. And that's not going to change. We'll continue to add talented players and guys that can do some different things on the baseball field. And I think, the highlight of the weekend for me, first of all, is getting 40,000 people in T-Mobile Park and feeling the energy that they brought is tremendous, not only for our team and organization, but I think the whole community. Baseball's back in Seattle. We didn't get over, like I said, we didn't get across the finish line, but I think everybody sees where we're headed. And I'm really excited to see that many people jump on the bandwagon with us because it's going to be a fun ride. So again, we can talk. I'll take your questions. I can go all day about this group, but go ahead if anybody's got any questions.
Scott, just how emotional was this entire past week? I mean, obviously with the crowd that's here, and you touched on it just now, but Mitch's night last night and then Kyle today, just can you kind of walk us through how emotional it's been?
Yeah, it really has. It's been quite a ride. And I think, when you have the kind of support that we got from our fan base here the last few days, it just hypes the emotion, of the moment. And it's the big games, it's the big rallies. It's certainly, the Kyle Seager moment today at the end of the game. There's things that you'll remember for a long, long time, and you never forget them. We might not ever remember the score of today's game, but you'll certainly remember, some of the moments, and certainly, with Siegs walking off the field there. It's a fantastic season. It really was. And certainly the last 3 or 4 weeks here when, everybody counted us out, we just kept winning ball games, finding different ways to do it. We did it by not trying too hard. We just go play, have fun, trust each other and what we're doing, and it worked out pretty well.
Scott, you talked about just getting better every day. Can you measure how much this team has gotten better and some of these players have gotten better from game 1 to 162? I mean, will you be able to tell that right away, or we'll see it down the road?
Well, I think we saw it play out through the course of the season, and I can remember in my opening talk in spring training, I talked about doesn't matter, get better. And at that point, I said, we'll talk about position players or a pitcher. What are the 7, 8, 10, 12 things you do every day when you come to the ballpark? Whether it's, it's your stretching routine, it's in the weight room, it's in the cage work, it's your PFPs, it's your ability to throw strike one, whatever it is. Can you get just 1% better in every one of those areas? And if every guy would do that, what might it look like by the end of the year? Okay. And that's, I guess, if you ultimately want to judge it, it's judged by the fact that we won 90 games. So you take that 1% in all these different areas that all these different players brought, and it meant a lot, and it added up to a lot. Because I would have, I bet a lot of people, coming into this season that we had no chance in hell of winning 90 games, and we did. And we almost won 91. So, that 1%, a little bit better in everything you do. And it's not just baseball, it's anything you do in life, it does add up. It does mean a lot.
Hey, Scott, even though you guys were down today, down early, and you come back and you get a couple runs back, which was pretty critical given the start, it sort of felt like you guys were just always on that cusp of kind of breaking through there. Do you kind of have that sense as well?
I do, Corey. I even felt down 7-2, I believe it was. We had the bases loaded. JP hits the one hopper right at Fletcher. They don't turn the double play, but then we got France coming up, and we just weren't able to get the big hit today. And you need a few breaks when you're down in the game like that. You're going to need a few things to go your way. And Just wasn't meant to be. But it's not for lack of effort or anything like that. And, give the Angels credit. They came in here, really didn't have a whole lot to play for. They played us pretty tough. You go back to the series, and certainly Friday night hurt, losing the 2-1 game, and we had opportunities. We let that one get away from us a little bit.
Scott, was it tough to see Tyler kind of struggle today? I mean, he'd been such a warrior for you in the shortened start before that.
Yeah, it was. You're always hoping everybody can finish with a flurry, go out on top, so to speak, or whatnot. But you could kind of tell right away just that he wasn't commanding the ball. The ball didn't have a lot of zip. Certainly, Ohtani jumped on him early, and they got a couple softer hits in there, but they hit him. And it was one of those days really early on. We were going to have to unload the bullpen and try to mix and match and put it together. And we hung in there. I think the 2-strike or the 2-out and 2-strike runs they added, the Walsh home run off of Miz, and then the late single. I don't remember who blooped it in. I think it was Fletcher for that add-on run. Those hurt. When you're down a game early like that, you got to put zeros up there. And we had 2 outs, we had 2 strikes, we just couldn't put them away.
Scott, you've talked over the last few weeks about how big these games are for the team, for experience going into next year and the years, ahead of that. But it also just seemed like they had so much fun out there, over this stretch. For a lot of these guys, these are the biggest games they've ever played in. I mean, did you get the same sense of that as well?
Absolutely. That they will take this experience and it'll benefit them for many years to come. And it'll also help in the off season, when so I get up and work out today. So I really want to do this extra exercise today or go lift weights at 7:30 in the morning. You know what? When you think back on where we were at game, 162, it's worth it. And it does make a difference because that's when you really make improvements in this game is in the off season. Your body gets completely healthy. You can make some adjustments, whether what you're doing pitching wise, hitting wise, whatnot. So, we'll stay on our guys, stay in touch with them all off season. They all have their off-season plans. They'll get that out to them here in the next week or so and start building towards next year because our future is very, very bright here.
Scott, do you think you've established kind of the culture of how you do things now? I mean, it's game 162. You guys were on late last night. You're back out there. You're doing your ground balls. It's every day, no matter what. Kind of like you set the expectation level of how you're supposed to be as a Seattle Mariner and when it comes to preparation.
No question about it. We have that's the 2 things I said it in pregame and I said it to the team. The 2 things that'll stand out for me with this club going forward is how we prepare and the consistency of that preparation is so important. You don't just do it when you feel good. You don't just do it when the team's doing good. You do it every day and you stay consistent with that, along with how resilient we were. As I talked with the team, we go back to where we were on May 23rd. And I talked to our whole group just about this a few minutes ago when we had a team meeting on May 23rd. We just lost 6 in a row. And we just had a COVID outbreak. How was our season looking? Not real good. And at that point, we had to look at each other, look in the mirror and look at each other. And we had to pull together as a group. And we did. And there's something to be said for that. The tightness, the brotherhood, the bond, whatever you want to call it, that is developed from that. It stays with you. It doesn't leave. It's not going to go away. So that's exciting for me. As we go forward with this young group.
Scott, you created a tremendous asset out of the bullpen all season long. How difficult was it to manage that, winning so many tight games down the stretch, knowing you still had to keep people ready for maybe even extra games coming up this week?
It certainly has challenges, Art, but I think, for me, it's not just me. I have a group of people around me, a coaching staff, strategist, the data people, so we have a really close-knit group. And it's one thing that we do really well organizationally is we listen, we trust each other. We let everybody get involved and have an opinion. At the end of the day, I have to make the decisions, but I lean on those people a lot. I'm smart enough to know what I don't know and trust others to get better. Because just like I'm telling our players, it doesn't matter good, better. It also applies to myself. And I think I did get better, throughout the year. And luckily we got players to do it with. Guys stepped up. They pitched great. They were very resilient and they gave me options, really good options to work that bullpen through. And it was a lot of fun. I learned a lot this year.
Scott, you're obviously very proud of this team and optimistic about the future. But is there one area or something you think you guys need to improve on to get you over the hump and to get you to that next level?
There's no question, Matt. It's a good question. We need to get better offensively. There's no question about it. We certainly struggled early in the season. And the reason we were able to put this phenomenal run together in the month of September is because our offense became much more consistent up and down the lineup. We saw what Jared Kelnick was able to add when he got going. We just had a number of guys chip in offensively. So that's the one area that we do need to get better at. More consistent offense, and you can't just rely on one or two guys every night.
Scott, you mentioned resiliency a bunch of times, and among your young guys, Jared probably had the most challenging year. Can you quantify just what this year means to him, having to overcome what he did and then closing the way he did the year?
It's a good question, Tim. I think, when you see young players and you see them maturing and growing, that's exciting. I've often talked, that's the most, the thing I like best about this job. But there's a lot of pain along the way, and you feel for young players. And I know when Jared first got to the big leagues with us, he got off to a rough start. The expectations were so high, and he was grinding and trying so hard to be able to unplug him, let him go back to Tacoma, and then see him come back as a much more mature player. And he's still got his moments where he gets frustrated and he wants to break every bat he sees and everything else. But it's gotten a heck of a lot better, not just from, conversations, but his teammates holding him accountable. He's learned a ton. So I think, showing up in spring training day one next year, I know he's going to be big as a house. He'll be working out all off season. He'll be ready to roll. But more importantly, it's what he learned mentally and how to handle, the failures in this game. It's really what separates, the great players in this game.
When did you know you were going to do that for Seager? And can you just talk about the consistency this guy's shown for an entire career with the Mariners?
Yeah, I think, as the games are playing out, I saw the Yankees put the 1-0 score up there. So that one went away. So you're tracking the Boston game. And when I saw that they had taken the lead, I just had somebody from the clubhouse say, let me know when it's a final. I didn't know when that was going to happen, but as soon as I found out it was a final, and knowing that he may not get an at bat in the final inning for us, I thought it was the right thing to do. And I certainly know that he appreciated it. I've said it many times. What Kyle, for me, has brought, he's brought consistency and the ability to write his name in the lineup every day. And I think a lot of our players learned that from him. I know JP Crawford has, Mitch Haniger is going to play 150, whatever he did, 6-7 games. Ty France played almost every game this year, except, the 10 days he was out or whatever. So players seeing that and understanding the value of that. If you want to get numbers, you want to put up numbers in this game, you got to play. You got to play every day. And, it's hard to do that physically and mentally. And that's what Kyle's been able to do, since he's been a Mariner.
Anything else for Scott? Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, everybody.